Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I'm so happy that you're here. Today we have a kind of a crazy video. I don't think I'm going to get all of it filmed today, so there's probably going to be a costume change, an outfit change, because I don't think I have enough light. My light's been going in and out, and I want to make sure you can actually see these, but it is a palette roundup. So these are all the palettes that I've used in the past month, and I'll do a few of these, probably the smaller ones, and give you an idea of my thoughts on which ones I'm going to declutter. And then at the end I will rank them from worst to best. If you tried any of these, let me know your thoughts on them down below. Let me know your favorite brands of eyeshadow palettes, like if there are any palettes that you think I should pick up, or ones that you would like to see me review. If you know I already own them, let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Those things really do help out small YouTubers. So first up, I have this KVD. This is the Moongarden vegan eyeshadow palette. I just picked this up at Marshall's for $14.99, so it is a new palette to me. And then this is one of three. This is the Too Faced Christmas Bake Shop. This is the chocolate chip palette, and I got this one over the holidays. There are 3 in the set. I only have one of them for this one, but I do have the other 2 coming up. Another new one, we got lots of new palettes going on. We have the Colourpop Muppets Holidays. An older palette, kind of a classic. This is the Tarte Tarteist Pro palette. It is the original one. Then I have a Violet Voss. This is the HG palette, or the Holy Grail palette. Another older one is this one from Tarte. I don't even know what this is called. This is part of a gift set. This from the holidays. I just call it the Flamingo palette. This is what it looks like, in case you don't know. Most of these are pretty, I feel like, known palettes. Maybe not that one. Then I have another new one. It is the Strawberry Shortcake Glamlite palette. And this one is, I think it's a pressed pigment palette, technically. And another palette that's new to me, it's a slightly older palette though. So a lot of these are newer to me palettes, or just new in general. This is the McGrath Mthrshp Mega Celestial Nirvana. I think this one came out at Christmas this year. Came out this year or last year for the holidays. This one I found at TJ Maxx for $34.99, which is why I picked it up. This one has a crazy color story. I struggled trying to find some looks and to use all of the shades. The first palette I used this month was this Tarte Flamingo. If I can find what the actual name is, I'll put it down below. But it has 15 shades in here. It's a nice neutral palette. It does have a green, and it has like a kind of magenta type shade there, but the rest of it is very pretty neutrals. And I use this one as a work palette. Obviously, like some of the other ones were definitely more weekend palettes. Oh, here we have all of the shades laid out. The nice thing about this palette is you can fold it all the way back. That seems very unusual to me in makeup world most of the time. There are some super light palette shades in here. I had to double swatch this one. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it. That one and that one I double swatched. Yeah, you can't really tell that they're even there. So if you are pale like me, this was an ideal palette because you have some really pretty shimmers. I love this shimmer. This is one of my favorite shimmers right there. I like the colors. I really like, I don't know if I needed 3 like super light shades all in a row. Can you tell there's a shade here? Maybe, maybe not. For me personally, this one was awesome because the shadows worked really well. They're soft and smooth. They go on really well. They blend out really nice, which I appreciate because I've had some other ones that were causing some issues over the course of this last month. So I really enjoyed this one. I liked the color range on it. I like the shimmers. I like the mattes. I know Tarte is not everybody's cup of tea, and I think if you were darker than me, you probably would not enjoy this one whatsoever. The one thing I don't like is, can you see how like all of the shadows are sticking, like have caused issues on the mirror? I don't like that part of it, but I think it is a pretty palette, and I was happy to use it and really enjoyed it. So no, it is not being decluttered. We are on to palette number 2. This is the Muppets Holidays Colourpop palette. There is a crazy amount of colors in here. It does not have a mirror, but it does have It does have Animal there, which is super cute. I love Animal. Not my favorite Muppet. There you go. Beaker. That's my favorite Muppet. Where is he? There he is. Right there. He's my favorite Muppet. Anyway, back to the palette. So we have a wide range of colors. You got a lot of crazy colors in there. You got some blues, you got some greens, you have some pinks and reds and kind of an orangey and some oranges. Almost a rainbow palette. Not quite. So you do have one light matte shade, you have 3 light shimmers, and then you have quite a few different shimmers in here. You have a satin shade, a couple of those that are like mattes with some glitter in them, and then you have this weird green. You're gonna see what it looks like here. It's not a chunky glitter, but it almost acts like a chunky glitter in how it applies. It's weird. It's not my favorite shade. It's probably the one shade that I did not wear. There are 16 shades in here. So I wore all of them, I think except the green one, because I was a little nervous about that one and how it would perform and react. This was definitely a weekend palette. There is a video that my last palette roundup, I was wearing this palette and I was wearing the greens in it. But there are some beautiful colors in it. I like this pink shimmer. The shimmers are not the best though. I'm keeping this palette, but I would not recommend this palette, if that makes sense. I think there are some lovely shades in it, but I don't think they're the best formula. Like, this one is super flaky and chunky. This one is just weird. And then it was just, the colors kind of went together, but I also found it slightly difficult to, once I wore a few of the colors, to then find ways to wear the other colors, if that makes sense. So I like it, not enough to recommend it, but I do think it is a semi-decent palette. I think it's cute. And if you're a Muppets fan, I like the Muppets. I'm not a huge Muppets fan. Like, I only picked up 2 pieces from this collection. I picked up this and I picked up the Beaker lip balm, but that was it. I think it's cute though. Not the best palette, not the worst palette. Kind of typical Colourpop quality. Not their best quality. They're middle of the road quality. We are on to the next palette, and this is Violet Voss Pro. This is the HG palette, or the Holy Grail palette, and this one has 20 shades. It is a big palette. There are a wide variety of shades. I like how it kind of gradiates from lightest to darkest. You have some beautiful shimmers in here. You have a lot of mattes, so you have a lot of neutral options in here. This is what they all look like swatched. Yes, there are a lot of shades here. Oh my gosh, so many shades. And I know some of my friends have said that their Violet Voss palettes have gone off. This one worked so well. This is definitely one that I'm keeping. I was so excited every day when I put this on. I really liked the look. I liked how long it lasted. I felt really pretty wearing this. These shades, like this shimmer, oh my gosh, and this shimmer and that shimmer, so pretty. Some of them are a little similar in nature, but I liked that even though they're brown shades, there are some of those pinky and reddish shades too, because that's what I gravitate towards. Obviously, like, I like to wear a lot of pinks and purples. Those are my favorite colors. So yeah, this palette is so good. This is the really good formula of Violet Voss. Not all of the palettes as they've gone on have been this good of quality. This is the quality that they did really well with. I wish they would go back to this because I feel like they've gotten a little bit more trendy, a little bit more trying to be cutesy in their packaging, and just not focus as much on the shades and the formulas, because this is so good. Like, look at how pretty the shimmers look. Just, they did such a nice job with this one. I really like it. Yeah, lots of nice shades in there. Really good for work. But even if I was like, this was one of my only palettes, I think this would still be fun. Like, it has enough pops in there so that I feel like I could do something a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more fun for the weekends as well. Yeah, I really like this one. We are on to Glamlite. This was my first experience with Glamlite. I picked up the Strawberry Shortcake Berrylicious palette. I also have the Barbie palette coming up. I'll probably have that in my next roundup. Maybe not. Maybe I don't know if I'm going to feel like wearing it in the next month. Who knows? This is what it looks like. It is crazy colors. I'll turn it this way so you can see it better. There are little strawberries or very cute in every single matte. So when you look at the mattes that I'm going to show you here in a second, you're going to notice that they're not as fully swatched. That's because I was trying to swatch around the embossing because I didn't want to mess it up. But let me tell you, they are pigmented. Everything in this palette is super pigmented, which means I struggled with this palette. I struggled so much because, you know, you do one teeny tiny dip and it's like too much. So this is probably the most difficult palette I've ever worked with because it is so pigmented. It is so out there. There are no shy shades in this. Like, they are all a lot. They're a lot. Here you go. Like, even with the ones that I kind of swatched funny, the mattes, like, look at those. Look at those. Like, so crazy. They're beautiful. Like, the shimmers are gorgeous. I love the shimmers in this palette. I had a much easier time working with the shimmers, but they're still, they're a lot. And I've been kind of getting away from a lot. Like, every time I do a lot, I'm like, that's too much. I don't like it anymore. I'm starting to feel a little like Mimi. Maybe that's because I'm also starting to feel like I'm getting old. But yeah, I don't want to look like Mimi. Like, I don't think anybody wants to look like Mimi. But sometimes, like, when I have a full-on look like this, not so much in the pinks, but like the greens or the blues, I feel like Mimi. But that is what they all look like. Oh my gosh. So many shades in here. They're beautiful. They are beautiful. This is a palette I'm keeping. I'm not going to declutter it because I bought this because it was strawberry shortcake. But will I reach for this? I don't think it, I think this is probably going to go into my makeup that I look at more than I actually use. I don't know how much I'm going to reach for this. I might reach for some of the shimmers here and there. The formulas are very soft. They're almost like a, I don't want to say super shock, but they definitely are a malleable formula. Like, there's give to them, but they're beautiful. Like, very, very beautiful. I think it's amazing how pigmented they are. If you want pigment though, woo, here you go. Glamlite is your pigment, but for me, it's overwhelming and it was too much. So I wouldn't recommend this one. Kind of like the Muppets one, not for quality. Like, the quality is there, but this one is just like, unless you want to do a lot of red, pink, green looks, it's a lot. It's more of an accent palette, and I don't know how much use an accent palette is. I feel like maybe just getting a couple colors would be more economical, or space-wise economical. We are back. New day, new shirt. Next up is the Tarteist Pro by Tarte. This is kind of a classic. It's been around for ages. I got this so long ago. So you have a whole bunch of mattes. You have 16 mattes and 4 shimmers. You have a wide range of colors. You have a lot of lights, and then it kind of gradiates over down to the darkest of the dark. There's a lot of shades. So many shades. So yeah. This no longer has its kind of vanilla-y smell because this is an older palette. A lot of these have been newer palettes, but this is definitely an older one. And there's a wide range of shades. You can see they swatched all pretty good. The shimmers to me are my favorite part. I don't love this palette. I've never loved this palette. I've wanted to love this palette because it was super popular for a while, and I felt like I should find it super popular. Like, I should really like it too. But to me, I needed more shimmers, maybe a few less lights, because you have almost 2 rows here that are very similar. There's not a lot of gradation there, right? You have like a super white and then a slightly darker white. And what I found is that all of these, when I do looks, they all turn out kind of similar but kind of muddy at the same time. They just are not my favorite. I don't think it's so much the quality of the palette, and yes, this one is older, but I'm trying not to base it on like the performance. They didn't last as long as they used to, so it is definitely getting older. but it is not, it's just not as good as other palettes have been. And I'm going to declutter this one. I think it's time to let it go. It's gotten some use out of it. Like you can see I have some dents in there, especially in the shimmers, but it's just not one that I really reach for or that I find inspiring. So I will let this one go. But if you want like a really good neutral matte palette, that's what this one was. Getting closer down the line, we have the KVD Moongarden Vegan Eyeshadow Palette. I picked this one up at Marshall's, like I said, and I thought the artwork on this was so pretty. We're just gonna pause for a second. Artwork, so pretty. Artwork on the inside, very pretty. And I'm excited for this because I feel like for a while, after they got rid of Kat Von D, it lost its way and it didn't have that same spark. It just didn't seem to have, it was kind of like a shell of its former self. And a lot of the things that were so spectacular, like the eyeshadow palettes and stuff, just weren't there anymore. But I think they did such a good job on this one. I think the color story is so pretty. It kind of reminds me of Subculture, but a little bit brighter, a little less grungy maybe, because it has the purple and those blues are just a little bit brighter. But it does have that orange and like the greens and the mustard and stuff. And this is what they look like. So pretty. These worked really well. I did a look like, so the blue is my least favorite look because blue is my least favorite color on me, but I liked the grungy. I did like the greens together. I really liked that with the yellow, and then I did like some of the pinks and oranges with these dark colors down here. I even used a little bit of the black. Still not a black fan. So like these three, like if we just got rid of those, I would absolutely love this palette. And it could be a 9-pound palette for me, but it is a 12. So that's what they all look like. They don't swatch as good as I feel like they went on. They blended out really well. They lasted well as well, which was nice. I feel like with the mattes, you have to build them up just a little bit, but then they lasted really well. And I really enjoyed this one. So if you see this one at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, or it might even be at Ross, who knows, or Burlington. I haven't been to Burlington in years. This is such a good one. And I was really impressed. And yeah, so the Moongarden by KVD, it's a yes for me. I think it is a nice palette. Next up is the Too Faced Christmas Bake Shop Chocolate Chip Palette. It came in a set of 3. There's a gingerbread and a sugar cookie as well, I believe. And this is what it looks like inside. You have 8 shadows and then a highlighter. I did, because there's only one shimmer in this palette, use this highlighter as an eyeshadow throughout the week. And I did try this on as a highlighter. I liked it better as a highlighter. It was probably my favorite part of this palette. It's lackluster. Let's just be honest. There's not a lot going on. It's the one shimmer here doesn't even like have that much shimmer to it. This one is the highlighter. It's a little bit better. I knew I shouldn't have gotten this one. I was just so tempted by it because it was so cute. I loved the packaging. I liked the little purple pop. I liked the green pop in the sugar cookie one. That's why I bought it. And it was not worth it. This is not worth keeping. I think I will declutter this one. I think given my collection, I just expected more. I've had such good luck with Too Faced, even like the holiday palettes that other people haven't enjoyed. I've enjoyed them to a certain extent. This just felt so, this is more drugstore quality. Like it's just so lackluster, so boring. I needed more shimmers. I needed something, because I mean, you look at the colors and you have shades that aren't that different from one another. And then you have just the one shimmer. No, this is not it. I'm sadly going to declutter this one. Yes, yeah, decluttering it. Very sad about that, because it is new. You know, this is the first time I've used it, but it's just not good enough for me. Last palette, finally. It's taken a while. We are finally here. It is the Pat McGrath. This has the longest name. This is the Mthrshp Mega Celestial Nirvana. So many words. It's cool because it does have like the little ribbons there to hold it open, and that's what it looks like. You have a wide range of shades in here. You have some darks, you have some lights, you have some shimmers, you have some non-shimmers, some mattes, non-shimmers. It's been a long week. I can't talk anymore, obviously. So there are some pretty shimmers down here. I like the shimmers the best. That's obviously my favorite part of this. This is what they all look like. There's some beautiful shades in there. Some of the mattes work really well. Some of the mattes are not my favorite. I like these ones were really soft. A couple of these over here. The blues and the purples were not as soft of mattes, but they still worked pretty good. My biggest problem with this was, you know, finding looks to do. This is a huge palette. This is 18 shades, and first couple looks were easy. Like I did a pretty neutral look over here. I did like a more red toned, did a purple and blue, but like my last look, I have it on camera and I can't remember which video it is. If I can remember, I will have it linked up here so that you can see. I was like, I hate this look. I don't like how I look whatsoever, but I had started and it's kind of spiraled. So it was my Macy's perfume haul. That's what it was. So this is what they all look like. It's an okay palette. Is it the best Pat McGrath? No, I don't think it is as good of quality as some of her other palettes. Is it the worst? No, I actually think this might be slightly better quality than the Bridgerton, which I feel terrible saying. There are some shades in here that I really like, and I don't know how much. I probably won't use the blues and the purples very much, or the green, but the lighter colors in here I feel like I will still get some use out of. I'll get some use out of the more neutral tones. Probably not this orange. I did not like that orange whatsoever on me, but there are some nice shadows in here. But where will it land in my ranking? So take a moment, comment down below what you think my ranking is going to be, which palette you think is going to be in first place, and which palette you think is going to be in last place, or last to first, because that's how I usually count them. I wanted to give you one more look at all of the shadows swatched. As you can see, like beautiful, some of those shimmers. I especially like this blue. It's very pretty. Okay, on to the ranking. Have you put your rankings down? We're gonna go from from last to first, 8 to 1. In last place, in 8th place, is Too Faced, the Bake Shop chocolate chip cookie. Just very disappointing. It was pretty lackluster, didn't have enough depth, needed at least one more shimmer in there. Yeah, very sad. It's a declutter, like I already said. Another declutter is in 7th place. That is the Tarte Tarteist Pro. Again, so many mattes in here, and just I feel like they could have done more with it. There could have been more depth of tones in there. You know, there's so many similar shades, or that appear pretty similar when you put them on, and could have used maybe 1 or 2 more shimmers, because this is such a matte heavy palette. That's why it's in 7th place. In 6th place, oh my gosh, not decluttering it, but like I said, it's going into my makeup archives. It is the Strawberry Shortcake Glamlite palette, Berrylicious. Some really pretty colors in here. Very difficult to do looks unless you're doing like crazy looks, and I don't do, like, anytime I have too crazy of looks, I feel a little uncomfortable, like people are looking at me. I mean, if you wanted to do like a drag queen look that's going to be really big and bold, like that's what I feel like this palette is for, and I don't wear a lot of that on a regular basis. So this one is going to be in 6th place. I think there are some really pretty shades in here. It's just, it's so much. It's so much. And obviously I like Strawberry Shortcake, because I do have my Strawberry Shortcake shirt on today. But yeah, it's in 6th place. In 5th place is the Colourpop Holidays Muppet collaboration. I like some of the shades in here. One of the reasons why this is lower down is because of this shade right here. No, don't give me that chunky weirdness. And some of these are really flaky shimmers, like this one. This is more of a super shock, so it's a little harder to get off and on the eye. It was an okay palette. It was not their best quality, wasn't their worst quality. Just left me pretty meh overall, so that's why it's only in 5th place. This might shock some of you, but in 4th place is going to be the Pat McGrath Mthrshp Celestial Nirvana Mthrshp Mega, excuse me. Has some really pretty colors in it, has some nice formulas, but I felt like it was just a little hard to work with. It was hard to find a different looks on. It just wasn't the best quality. So it is going to be in 4th place. Still like it, still will keep it, but just wanted a little bit more. In 3rd place, this kind of surprised me. I didn't think this was going to rank this high. This is the KVD Moongarden Vegan Eyeshadow Palette. Really nice. I also like that it folds back. That just, I don't know, that just makes me happy, although it probably will break at some point. I like the colors. Like I said, you could get rid of those 3, but for the price also, like finding it at Marshall's, that really helped too. I think it's a nice palette. I like the formula. I really like the color story. So yeah, 3rd place. 2nd place is the Tarte Flamingo palette. We're going to call it the Flamingo palette. I don't really know what it's called because it doesn't have a name on it. And I was not really expecting this palette to rank so high, but it has some beautiful shades in it. It lasted really well. I felt really pretty every time I wore this. You know, I get ready for work, I go out the door and I was like, I really like my eye look. I feel like put together, but I also feel like it was pretty, and yeah, gave me nice confidence. I like that there's a couple pops in there. Not too many, but it's a good solid palette. This is like the Tarte quality that I enjoy. Which means in 1st place is my Violet Voss Pro HG palette. This one is because the shades, I love the gradation. So there's some similar, but they're different too. Like these two look similar, but this one's a shimmer, that one's not a shimmer. So you have a really good balance of shimmers and mattes and lights and darks. So you can do I felt like I could do a lot of looks that it just felt pretty in, and I felt put together, which was really nice. So yes, this is my favorite palette out of this bunch. We'll see what happens with my next roundup. We're gonna put at least one more of those Too Faced palettes in it. We'll see what happens. So that is it for my palette roundup this month. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, if you've tried any of these palettes, what you think of my ranking and my declutter. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.